Welcome back, my lovelies. I'm so grateful you've decided to join me once again. Morgana just found out that she's pregnant. I bet you weren't even surprised, right? Anyway, let's get on with what happens next. The following morning, I couldn't eat as I was sick again, but I had to suck it up to make the meeting. The scribes and I entered the throne room to find it buzzing. Everyone was present, and they were eager to hear what I'd produced. After laying out my decree, an hour of discussion later, we had come to an agreement. I had won them over, and we were now a democratic society. I understood that Longor had his spy among us, and he would soon know everything. He felt that he could control me to get his way, but I didn't tell him differently. I could feel the magic weaving all around me as we spoke later. I didn't really have to fight it, but I put on a show for him. He stood in front of me along with his father. You will tell me how the meeting went and when the decree goes into effect. The decree goes into effect when the new moon rises. You will be a true king, and you can finally do what you wanted all your life to do. You will rule, I told him. He turned triumphantly to his father. You see, father, I am doing what you've never been able to do. Terra will be ours, and these females will do whatever we say. I must warn you, Longor. Democracy doesn't work that way. We must work together unless you want another war, I warned him. Don't you worry about that. I have other dragons on my side, and we will change things. I looked at him. He was so full of himself. I wish you wouldn't say such things out in the open, Longor, his father said. And it doesn't matter, father. She can't do anything about it. I still control her. You won't get away with it, Longor. Eventually, the females will figure it out, and you will lose your power, I said. Do you know how many males are eager to take control? We have an army, and we will prevail. I do like the idea of a democratic society. However, I will choose what the females can do. They can collaborate with us, but not quite equal. Can you tell me something, Longor? What is it about power that attracts you so much? You will soon find that it will be dangerous to wield so much, I said. Longor worked his massive jaw into what I took to be a smile. You will see soon, Morgana. Once we have control, life will be more satisfying. I shook my head and walked away from him. I could already see it now. What he thinks is going to be a long reign for him will be him constantly watching his back. Power corrupts absolutely, as the saying goes. Some other dragons will covet his power and want it for themselves. If Longor isn't careful, he will find a different war on his hands, and then the females will again take control because the males will have killed each other. Confirmation of my pregnancy came the following morning. I awoke with a weird rash on my underbelly. The old dragon explained it to me, but I had only listened to be polite because I hadn't really believed that I had conceived. She said that I would develop a pouch. Once we lay our eggs, we keep them securely in the pouch until they are ready to hatch. The pouch starts off as a rash that spreads across the underbelly, and then the skin peels, forming the pouch. Now, I had to really concentrate on my escape. I needed to get back to Earth and find a new cave. I won't let him have my hatchlings. He'll probably kill the females and keep the males, just out of spite. I've seen how proudly the females parade around when pregnant, but I needed to hide. Somehow, I had to keep Longor from finding out. Faglera is his spy and mistress. She tells him my every move. I insisted that I bathe alone. The old dragon told me that I could find a sorceress who could help me create a tear in the dimensional fabric so I could make my escape. That was how Longor came for me. She had created it for him and showed him how to repair it. Dragons have a gestational period of about 18 weeks. I wasn't sure how far along I was, and I didn't know who to trust to find out. There were no clinics, and I didn't trust the midwife. My only option would be to go to Colac to seek a human physician there. The following morning, I awoke to an overwhelming sense of dread. I looked around me, almost expecting Longor towering over me, but he wasn't in the cavern. I did a quick search to find that I was alone, and I sensed no magic. Most days, if he was going out, he'd weave a web of magic around me to keep tabs on me. Since overturning the treaty, he'd relaxed a little, or maybe his control over me had begun to dissipate completely. I didn't have to guess about his whereabouts either. He'd become so confident about his plans. He went to meet with his other power-hungry males to plot their debut. I didn't really care what he was planning to do. I just wanted out. From what I could see of the female population, they would fare well. They'd been in control long enough to have a contingency plan in case the males revolted. I took the advantage to seek out the sorceress in the human town. I didn't know how long Longor would be out, or when he would return. I needed to hurry. I left the cavern when I thought it was safe. The web of magic he keeps around me had weakened considerably, and I could come and go as I wished. However, I was careful to go out when he wasn't home. Once in the middle of the town proper, I banked left and headed toward Colac. Colac had changed. It had grown from a small town to becoming a metropolis. When I got there, I was escorted to a courtyard big enough for my kind. Of course, they knew who I was, so they were courteous. "I would like to speak with the sorceress," I said. I lowered my body and curled my tail around me to show that I wasn't a threat. "Very well, wait here." I watched the guard walk away from me and into the large building. Soldiers gathered all around me, and I stayed still, thinking of my babies. A few minutes later, he returned with a woman. I could sense immense magic wafting off her. Her aura shimmered. I nodded down low to show my respect. "Are you the sorceress?" I asked her. I didn't want her to know that I could sense her magic. "Yes, I am the kingdom's mage. What service do you want of me, your highness?" "I see you know who I am." "Yes, I make it my business to know what's important in your kingdom." "I would like to speak with you in private," I said. There were too many humans surrounding me. "Very well. I will evoke a dome of silence and we can speak freely," she said, and then proceeded to construct said dome. Immediately, all sounds around us went silent. I nodded my thanks and made myself comfortable. These days, I get tired easily. For the next 20 minutes or so, we spoke. I told her what I wanted from her, and she insisted on bartering. What she wanted was a dragon egg, in return for creating the tear for my safe passage to Earth. "I don't have any eggs to give you." "Your Highness, I can clearly see that you are pregnant. Surely you can spare one of your eggs." "You were the one who created the passage for Longor. Did he give you an egg?" I countered. "Yes, he did." "I see," I replied. "What happened to the egg?" "Had it lost its magic?" She stared at me levelly. "It didn't survive the transfer of magic, so I require another." "Every so often, dragons come to our city. They steal our livestock and destroy our farms. I want an egg to raise for our protection. A royal egg would mean a powerful dragon." "I've heard of such rampages on Earth. I didn't know it happens here too. I'm sure that you've heard of the many changes we are making. Instead of giving you my egg, I will pass legislation that will outlaw any dragon from crossing your borders. And if they disobey, your government can do anything it wishes to the trespassers." "No, you know very well that we cannot defeat a dragon. I want an egg," she insisted. "Very well. I have another request. A dragon's egg is worth more than a passage to Earth. I'd like to see a physician as well." "I'm sure you have your own private physician, Highness. What can a human physician do for a dragon?" "I wish to know how far along I am. The reason I seek passage to Earth is because I had been tricked into returning to Terra. My mother was next in line to rule, but she died a long time ago. As you know, only females rule the Dragon Kingdom. I was next in line. I have no interest in being queen, much less rule. I want to return to Earth where I was happy. I also want to hide my pregnancy and to shift to human again." The sorceress stared at me for a long time before she spoke. "I see. You have about 10 weeks before you lay your eggs. You don't need a physician for that. Hiding your pregnancy will only last until it comes time to lay your eggs. You can hide the eggs in your pouch until they mature." "When can you construct the tear and the spell?" I asked. "As soon as I have my egg," she replied confidently. I bowed my head to her and she lifted the dome. I left with a lot on my mind. I was torn between trusting that she would do right by my egg and trying to find another way. Having lived among humans for as long as I have, I knew that the sorceress had an agenda. What she didn't know was that I was on to her. I returned home to find Longor pitching a fit. I heard him long before I entered the cavern. "Where have you been?" he roared. "I went out. I needed to clear my head," I told him calmly. Why didn't you leave word that you were going out? You know that you must be escorted. I'm back now, safe and sound. Although you don't appreciate it, I was worried that something might have happened to you. I looked at him wide-eyed. I doubt you care about me, Longor. I wouldn't be surprised if, after the new moon, I didn't fall prey to some life-threatening event, so spare me the hypocrisy. You're wrong, Morgana, he said simply. Whatever, I said and turned to walk away from him. I expect you at dinner. Prime Minister Laurel is expecting us tonight. I haven't forgotten, I'll be ready. Longor had a private room carved out for me and I went to it. When not spending time with him, it was my sanctuary. I warded it so that no one else can enter without my permission. Longor has tried unsuccessfully, much to his immense discontent. As soon as I was inside, I slumped and lay down. Being pregnant was sapping all my energy. The sorceress and I hatched a plan for my escape. Until then, I would bide my time and try to hide my pregnancy for as long as I could. I lamented giving up an egg, but I convinced myself that it would be for the greater good. The sorceress admitted that she was the one who opened the tear for Longor and showed him how to repair it. She knew that he was a powerful dragon and probably knew about the other males all along. If she got a powerful male egg, her magic would become 10 times greater. I cared, but not enough to stay. As a human, I didn't think about having a family. I was content to be alone. However, things were different now. I was carrying a family, and I was torn. The new moon came, and Longor insisted on throwing a banquet to show his goodwill. His father was a little subdued, but he went along. Everybody came, and I noticed that all the females accompanied their mates, and they were wearing their collars. Dragons of Terra, this is a new age for us. Together, we will have a bright future. Finally, the horrific threat to our male hatchlings is over. My queen has seen fit to nullify the treaty that has kept our kind separated. Tonight, we celebrate our togetherness, and tomorrow, we will begin to build our new world, Longor announced. There was a roar of encouragement, and I almost believed what Longor said. The Prime Minister caught my eye, and I nodded to her, and she returned the gesture. I was proud that some of the changes I'd proposed were working. I'd suggested that we have our own farms for growing fruits and vegetables. More importantly, I'd insisted that we start our own cow, sheep, and goat herds. I was thinking that if we had a ready supply of meat, Colac wouldn't worry about raids. For a few days, peace reigned among the dragons, but I knew differently. Longor wanted the females to relax before he and his army struck. I was almost fooled weeks later when nothing happened. Longor seemed content to being king. He appointed his father as his advisor. More and more males held roles in government. My time was drawing near, and I stayed away from the public. Longor held banquets almost every week. I would attend and leave early. One such night after I left, Longor returned and tried to enter my room. "Why don't you share my bedchamber anymore?" he asked. I was almost asleep and wary. I didn't want to discuss anything with him, but for my plans to work, I had to keep him at bay. I stood up and lowered the ward for him to enter. "If you must know, I recently found out that I am pregnant. In about 10 weeks, you will be a father," I told him. "That is great news. Our family's reign is secure. How soon can we find out how many eggs you're carrying?" "I don't know, Longor. I've never been pregnant before. I'm tired and I don't feel well. I will have the royal physician come to you in the morning." "No need. I saw her yesterday. She said that when I am close to laying my eggs, she'll be able to tell how many. Until then, she recommends that I rest and to keep to a strict diet to ensure strong and healthy hatchlings." Longor's demeanor changed immediately. He stood up to his full height and puffed out his chest in pride. "I will let you rest, my dear. Good night."